Hello everyone, welcome to Agama Studio. Today I'm going to show you how to make a 10-panel skirt, and this skirt is available on Etsy. The link will be down below. Etsy, Agama Patterns. And if you are interested and you want to learn how to sew or how to maybe improve your skills, or you just want to watch somebody sewing and sewing for a week, then definitely follow this channel. This video is going to be boring, so this is just a warning. It's going to be super boring. Anyways, what I'm going to show you today, I'm going to show you how to make this 10-panel skirt, like I said before. And this skirt has shaped facing, which is the waistband inside the skirt, and also it has lining. And I know a lot of people are always scared of attaching lining and just finishing it well, because I mean, it looks time consuming, and it is time consuming. However, the skirt will look so much better. So I would highly encourage you to do this step if you're using linen. But there's another fabric that will work for this skirt really well, and it's more fall, wintry fabric, which is jeans. I think jeans, or like a thicker cotton jeans, white jean fabric, would work so well for the skirt. And if you use jeans, then I would say you don't need lining. You absolutely don't need lining. And I can imagine this skirt with like a belt that's kind of like a thicker belt that hits your that hits your hips, and then like a black top or some like nice jewelry, some beads or something. And yeah, this is gonna look so cool. I think I'm gonna make another version of it. And honestly, there are so many things that you can add to the skirt to make it more personal, to make it more unique to you. And there will be a video about all those things if you're interested in the future, but this is definitely not a video for that. This is boring tutorial. One more thing that I wanted to mention is that this skirt comes with a top. This top, rag-on sleeves, puff sleeve, hits at the waist, has lining. It's fully lined. And tutorial for this top will come next week. And when it comes next week, there will be a bundle, so you can buy them together. It will be a little cheaper, but obviously you don't have to wait. Or if you don't want the top, you don't have to buy a bundle or whatever. You know. All right, guys. Let's prepare our fabric for sewing. The first thing that you have to do is to pre-wash the fabric. I put it in a washing machine for a few minutes without any detergent or fabric softener, but if you want, you can use fabric softener. It's fine, doesn't really matter. Afterwards, I air dried the fabric, and as you can see here, I am pressing it with a steam setting on. This is a very crucial step because it prevents any shrinkage in the future, especially for linen, and I am using linen here. Don't forget about your lining. You have to press it as well. This is my cat Wyatt, by the way. He's with me all the time. Every time I sew, he's somewhere around, so you'll probably see him a lot in the future. Place the pattern on the left side of the fabric, pin and cut out the pieces. Remember that piece 1 and 5 are cut on fold, so place them on fold. If you want them to be separate, you have to basically add extra seam allowance at center front and center back. As you can see here, I'm using a rotary cutter and a cutting mat. I think they're a little bit easier to work with than scissors. But if you have scissors, then that's fine. You can use them. Just make sure not to cut any paper with them, because it will make them less sharp over time. Here I'm cutting shaped facing and also interfacing to stabilize the area even more. Don't forget to notch it at center front and center back, just for reference. You can also use water-soluble marker if you prefer. I like to pin all of the pieces at the waist before I overlock them so I know which one is which. They look very similar and I get them confused a lot. But you can also use water-soluble marker to mark all of the edges, then you know which part is which. But, you know, I just like to do it my own way. Now it's the time to overlock all of the edges. I overlock side seams and I keep waistline and hem open. I'm going to overlock them at the end when all of the pieces are attached together. Here I am pinning the side seams. The right sides are facing each other, and remember, seam allowance is 2 centimeters at the side seams and 1.5 at the waistline. It's super simple. You have to repeat the same thing for lining and just sew all of the parts together, except side seams that are marked 1B. We are going to leave them open because that's where the zipper will be inserted later. Repeat the same thing for lining. Remember that lining is mirroring the main skirt. What does it mean? The side seams are facing outward in the lining and the main skirt's side seams are facing inward. Oh my goodness, this is honestly not that complicated as it seems like. Just follow the tutorial and I'll explain everything as we go. Sew a straight stitch from the waistline to the hem and repeat it for all of the pieces except, like I mentioned before, sides 1B on both lining and the main skirt. Take your piece to the ironing board and press the seams open. Repeat the same for lining. Place a damp cloth on top of the facing and press with steam setting on, just like that, and that should attach shaped facing to the interfacing and stabilize it. Open the zipper and press on the wrong side of the zipper so the tapes are smooth and the coils stand away from the tapes. To stabilize the area where the zipper will be inserted, I attached some interfacing to the left side of both side seams 1B. Place the left side of the open zipper tape face down on the right side of the garment, so basically the wrong side is facing us. The coils are in the seam line, which is basically 2 centimeters away from the edge of the seam allowance. Pin in place and straight stitch through the tape. It will allow us to keep the zipper in place before we attach it again with the proper invisible zipper foot. Repeat it on both sides. Move the right side of the tape and then twist, just like that. Afterwards, you can just stitch the tape to the skirt exactly like you did the previous side. And also, I know that this step looks wrong, but trust me, it will turn out perfect if you do it the right way. Always backstitch in the beginning and at the end of your seam. And finally, we can replace our presser foot with an invisible zipper foot. Place the coil under the groove, sew a straight stitch maintaining the same distance from the edge throughout the length. Backstitch at 20 cm mark and repeat for the other side. Pin the rest of the seam. Straight stitch the rest of the seam, and when you get close to the zipper, make sure to hold the fabric and push the zipper aside so you can sew a straight stitch close to the coils. It will be about 3 mm away. The zipper is done. Now we have to attach the front and back shaped facing together along the seam line, leaving the area for the zipper open. Just sew a straight stitch and press seam flat. Remember to leave the space open for a zipper on one side of the facing. Let's finish the lining real quick. I'm marking here 14 centimeters down from the waistline, and this is basically going to be zipper opening. And then I am going to sew a straight stitch from that 14 centimeter mark to the hemline. Pin shaped facing and lining right sides together and sew a straight stitch along the seam line. Press the seam allowance down and grate to reduce bulk. Grating basically means trimming the seam allowance. One part of seam allowance, you can leave it a little longer, and another one cut so it's shorter. So then they're not the same length, and it basically appears like it's less bulky. I also sew over pins. You don't have to do it if you don't want to, but I do. Oh, and I also attached the stay tape to the waistline of shaped facing about 1 centimeter away from the edge. This basically helps us to stabilize the waistline. Now it's time to hem the lining. Make sure to turn the hemline outwards, so towards the skirt. What did I say? Scared? I don't know what's wrong with me. I'm getting this accent. Anyways. All right, let's continue. Now, one of the easiest parts, we are going to place skirt and lining right sides together. So basically the skirt goes inside the lining, and then you have to match the sides together and pin at the waistline. Straight stitch all the way through the waistline. With facing extended away from the garment, press all seam allowances towards the facing. Understitch the seam to keep it from rolling to the outside of the garment. Here I am understitching the garment. Now it's time to turn the garment inside out again, right sides together, and open the zipper. Pin skirt and lining together from the top of the waistline where the zipper opening is till about 1 centimeter before zipper's bottom stop is. Sew a straight stitch on the left and right side of the zipper. Be careful not to sew over the coils. This is how it looks like finished. And this is how it's going to look like when I turn it to the right side of the garment. Of course, this is before I trim the seams, so that's what you have to do, but I just wanted to show you how it would look like on the right side. All right, now you have to trim the seams. And then I am going to push out the corner with scissors. After I pressed everything, it's time to hem the skirt. And we are done. That's it. Wasn't as difficult as it seemed like. Okay, the skirt is done. As you can see, it is fully lined. It is so hard to find lining that's the same color, so I try to take similar shade, but I think it's fine. It's absolutely okay. And yeah, this is the zipper. It's a really long skirt and it flares a little bit. There's a lining inside, as you can see. Make sure to press it, and I can't wait to wear it more. And it looks really good with this. I'm gonna kind of show you. It would kind of look like this if I put it on. If you are interested, you can of course purchase it on Egomess Patterns on Etsy, not Studio. Studio, it's the channel, and Patterns, it's the store. That's how I wanted it to be, and that's how I created it. All right, I will see you next week for this shirt. This shirt is definitely intermediate or maybe even higher level person. But hey, I was able to sew it, so I think you would be able to. I'll show you maybe one day some of my stuff from fashion school that I did, and it was so bad. And you know what? Fun fact, another fun fact. This is for another day, but like one of my bad outfits ended up in Vogue. Like, what? It was so bad, but I think they just were into this kind of sustainable handmade thing. But that's a story. That's a story for another time. All right, guys. So I'll see you next week. Let me know if you have any questions. I will maybe I might answer them. I might not. We will see. I'll see you guys next week. Bye.